What?
Well, when you hear the impact in the Moxie Tower,
That means
Yeah, it was
something.
pretty nasty up
yeah,
there.
it's a big because we're on the front stretch. He hit on the entrance of turn 3 with cars under speed and all that noise, and you could still hear the impact. That's a hard hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's okay.
That's
the best part.
that's what matters. We're glad that he's okay. That race car probably isn't. Doesn't matter. Race
Nope.
cars are metal. They can be replaced. They can be fixed. What matters is it did its job and protected him. And I'm sure he was in a full containment seat. He had good equipment. I'm sure he was in good safety, safety gear. And glad to hear that he's all right. And he'll be racing again soon.
Yeah. Sixth position, the Jerry Casey ride piloted by Jeff Rash, the 61 machine. Jeremy Short finished in 5th. Mark Thompson in the 70X for 4th. The third position, the 76 of Jason Johnson. There's a name we don't see that often at Willamette Speedway.
Hardly ever.
Britton Donahue, 2nd. And Pappenhausen took the W.
And he figured it out. It took him a little bit. Day 1 he kind of struggled. Day 2, I think, getting in that B main was a good thing for the P4 because he got a chance to get out and work that car and massage it. And he figured out everything. I mean, he checked out in the B main.
Oh, yeah.
He was gone. Transferred up to the A. Did all right. I mean, for somebody that doesn't visit Willamette, that is a tricky place to race against wicked field of late models. He did all right, held his own. Nothing to be ashamed of, but that B main was a good chance for him to get out and shake that car down under race conditions.
Absolutely.
I can't even see the screen from here, Joel. There's a lot of glare on it. So A main at night number 2 for the late models. We started 20 cars, and the back of the pack was Britton Donahue. He fell out, I want to say, on lap 11. He fell out. Brian Smith had some bad luck. He was 19th. He went out at lap 13. Bryson James, trouble for the 13 of the car we've seen so fast, running near the top of the points list most of the year. Joey Tanner in the 111 was 17th. Now, he was incredibly fast. He was 16, 17 laps in. Is when he lost that oil line. He actually turned in the fastest lap of the race.
Really?
He did. And he had a lead. He had a lead for a while that was pretty significant. And then when Jeremy Shank started working him, you can kind of see the 111 slowing down and wonder what's going on here. What's going on here? And Shank got to the outside of him. And just as he got to the outside of him, is when Joey's oil line come off and Jeremy shot by him. Jeremy did say, I'm glad I got to run it when I did because my car was slipping and sliding all over the place behind Joey, and he left a trail of oil. It was,
yeah,
I don't think there was any left in the engine. I mean, it was. You could see it started in turn 3, went all the way around turn 3 and 4, down the front stretch, around 1 and 2, and off the track of the exit. A lot of oil left down. Just ahead of Joey Tanner, in 16th spot, who went out on lap 23, was Colin Weinbarger. Look at those names we just talked about. Bryson James, Joey Tanner, Colin Weinbarger. The top 3 drivers in points finished 16th, 17th, and 18th. It just seems like if one of these guys does really well, the other 2 are right there on his backside. Yeah. If one of them breaks, the other 2 are right there with him, just within laps. It's been crazy to watch these young guys battle for the championship.
Yeah, it certainly has.
It's been just really weird with those guys this year. Just ahead of Weinbarger in this 15th spot was Mark Thompson in the 70X from Central Oregon. Then it was a 67 of Mike George in 14th. 13th was Randy Boyd, the 94. Now, all these cars from Mark Thompson up, 15th up, all finished on the lead lap. So 12th was Jason Johnson, an impressive run for the 76. I do believe he runs a great engine. Normally see him up at Banks, Sunset Speedway. Todd Sieg was 11th. Just ahead of him was Steve Moore in the 10th spot. Pappenhausen transfers out of the B and drives up to a 9th place finish. It was a good run for the 4P. Darren Koffel was 8th. Ahead of Koffel was Rob Campos in the 7th spot. Then Brian Kronk in the 6th. Trent Elliott finished 5th. 4th was I think, career best for Brian Norton. I'm pretty confident saying that his career best finish in a late model. 4th spot for the 71E. Drove a great race. He had a good race going with Elliott and Kronk there for a while. Those guys were all slicing and dicing and mixing it up, and he came out on the front end of that deal. Just ahead of Brian Norton in the 3rd spot in the 541 RC car was Casey Vitale Dan Dybel for the second night in a row finished second. I mean, what does he got to do to get a win? That car has been so close. And at one point on night one, I thought he was going to do it. And no go. Night number 2, he got to second, and nobody was catching Jeremy Shank.
Yeah.
Your winner in the 30. It was, typical Jeremy Shank, smooth as fast, and nobody is smoother than Jeremy Shank in those late model cars. He is something special to watch, and the finesse, finesse factor that he carries it's. I don't think I've ever seen anybody like that at Willamette Speedway.
There's nothing dramatic going on. It's just
Nothing.
going.
The car is never upset. It's just smooth. It's just the throttle. You hear him working it. He is fun to watch.
Absolutely. There's nothing, like I say, there's no drama, no squealing, no nothing. Just smooth and goes.
That's exactly it. It's just smooth. I mean, you can't say anything else about him except for how smooth that dude is.
Think about who he was connected with for the longest time. Papa Shank, we all know Mike, and then the wholesale gang and Russell.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a lot of knowledge there in those sports cars, but don't discount Jeremy's knowledge on a race car either.
No, Jeremy is one sharp dude.
He is, and
his ability to pilot a race car is, I would go as far as say second to none.
Well, I'd put him in that upper echelon, that very few elite cars that we see. I think we'll see more of him next year, given what's happening in those stables. I think we'll see more of the 30 car, not just at Willamette Speedway, but around the Pacific Northwest, and be a good thing. I know Jeremy's itching to get back in the car and race, and coming out and winning that probably doesn't help that.
No, not at all. Well, and that's the nice trophy.
Yeah. It was a beautiful trophy.
Those beautiful Farmers Cup trophies that we had at the Fall Frenzy on night 2.
Put together by Jeff Hansen, the clocks.
Yep. Yes,
the gold clocks with the beautiful the sunset with the sprinklers going, and those are some. I got to kind of see those before they were anything. They were just some old grater disc laying in the back of his truck. I saw. He goes, "This is what we're doing," and he goes, "Don't say anything." Now Jeff Hansen's a big man. If he says don't say anything, I'm just going to keep that on the down low for a little while, And I don't know if you've met his brother or his dad, but those 3 guys walk into a bar and they just, it clears
Everybody
out.
shuts up.
Yeah, that's right. The Hansen gang's here. But, he put together some beautiful clocks. I think it was Jordan McDonald who actually did I think it was Jordan who did the powder coat on those.
They were painted, I believe.
Were they painted?
I don't know.
Beautiful gold, though. The sparkles. That was just some neat trophies. Taking old, for Farmers Cup.
Well, where else do you get? I mean, it's one of those you're going to remember, like a Martinsville clock.
Well, that's it. You put it up on the wall, and it's there. It's not one you just, I've had it sitting there for 20 years, and I give it to the nephew or throw it away. No, that's going to sit there. That's going to be passed down.
You look at it, I don't know how many times I've walked into Justin Katie's house, and there's his Farmers Cup trophy. First thing you see right above the TV. It's like, okay, he's proud of that one.
Yeah, that's one that's just that's a race that has
look around. Look right around here.
The beer, I mean,
behind you is all the other trophies, but nobody really cares about. Everybody plays with this one.
The beer cup. Yes. It's got the big Coors handle up on the Coors Light handle on top from the tap, and it's mounted up on
it's an old pinion gear.
Yeah.
Or a tranny gear or something. I don't know. What's
something.
It's a gear of some sort that was put together
by
Jeff
Dom,
Hansen.
You're the auto dude.
Huh. I don't know.
It's a cool trophy, though. That's all that matters, but that's what Hansen does. This weekend, man. Okay, where are we at?
We're at the Iron Giant.
The Iron Giant. This is the one we want to talk about.
This is the fun one. How deep do
I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, did I hear 60 street stocks signed in?
63 is
63.
That's what I heard.
63. Because I know I heard 60, and I know there were some late arrivals, and people were coming from everywhere to run this race.
Hang on.
In 2 years, it's only the second time the Iron Giant race. I'm talking about the race. The series is a year old. This is the first year for the Iron Giant series. The race itself, it's you don't see a race establish itself like this one has in just 2 very short years. Year number 1, with everything that happened, with 53 or 54 cars showed up, something
57.
like 57. That's right. It was 57 last year. And what happened on the year number 1 with the thousands, thousands
5,000.
Yeah, something like that. Finish at the stripe with a last lap pass to win. This year, I think this race, given a incident or two, was overall a better race. We saw the 36 of Joey Tanner, Joey filling in for his dad, and Brian Kronk in the 129. Did these guys not put on a show?
Absolutely. It was just incredible.
They got to the front, and it was clear. It was clear. These are the cars that we're going to watch race for the win.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part. Now, there was a yellow car in that race that was extremely fast and was making his way through the field. He got into the top 5. Some bad luck. We're going to talk about that. He is one of the other. He's the other car. The other car, I think, had a real shot at winning this and might have won this had everything not gone down the way it did.
I would even throw the 74 into that mix.
I don't know. Langen was fast. Don't get me wrong.
He was fast, but now that I look at the times, he's fast. But if he would have,
it was weird watching the 74 car because he got through traffic. He was fast. Mm-hmm. They were getting through traffic. He got to a point, and things just kind of all started going the same speed. And I'm talking about with the 36 and the 129 up front battling out, the gap between Langen and that top two, the battling for the lead, wasn't really closing. It wasn't getting any smaller. It was an awesome race. There was so many fast cars and so much good racing going on. It was kind of hard to. You want to watch the lead. You want to talk about that because that's what the fans are looking at. And you got Joey Tanner filling in for his dad, so you got that storyline. Then you got Kronk and the old. It looks like this car just rolled out of the junkyard. It's got spray painted numbers, and the thing is just incredibly fast. That thing is a beast. And he was all over the backside of Tanner, but Joey Tanner was so smooth in that little Camaro. Here they're saying the Camaros are being passed up by the metric cars, and the metric cars are the way to go. And if you can't win if you don't have a metric car, guess what? Joey Tanner just proved otherwise.
Yes, he did.
He proved otherwise.
They said
and that
the
is
same
a
thing
big
about Joey Tanner in the late model with a 604.
Well, I know, but we're talking about the street stocks where it's even more limited. You know what I'm talking about? Really, we're talking about the advantage of a metric car over a Camaro is a lot bigger than I even think a 525 over a 604. Yeah. Joey was so smooth. He drove that 36 car just I never once. Do you guys remember watching that car get out of shape at all?
No, it was super smooth, super consistent, just
lap after lap, and Kronk tried. And here's the funny thing. Those two guys are best friends. They're pals. And Kronk was putting the heat on him. And you know, there is no doubt about it. You knew, Tanner knew where Kronk was. And Kronk was just, I wonder how frustrated he was. Because every time he tried something, Joey was there to take his line. And it wasn't checkerboarding racing. It was good, smooth, full control, just phenomenal. Two phenomenal race car drivers. And knowing that they're best friends, knowing that Joey was Brian's best man at his wedding 2 weeks ago or whatever it was kind of funny to watch those guys because Kronk's wanting to put a little bumper on him. He's wanting, hey buddy, I'm here,
right,
and get outside. And he didn't want to go outside of Tanner because Tanner was so smooth on getting on the entry, he would have pulled away from him. Mm-hmm. I think it was got to the point where Kronk sat back there thinking, okay, he's got to make a mistake at some point.
Mm-hmm. Never happened.
It didn't. It did not happen. Tanner says, if you're going to get around me, try it on the high side. This gutter is mine. I'm protecting this line like I live here.
You were going to fight for it.
Kronk tried a couple times. To his credit, he tried him through turns 1 and 2 in the bottom a couple times, and just as fast as that car is, Tanner had that little bit of extra bite getting out, and the 129 couldn't get by him.
Yep.
It was, to watch those two race this weekend in that Iron Giant, I would probably say the best racing I saw all weekend.
Yeah, it was really, like I say, it was just consistent, smooth. They had fun, I'm sure. I'm sure they had a lot to talk about. It was just great.
Yeah, it was. And the fans were were they loving
they were
that?
Pumped. They were pumped.
Digging that race.
Yeah.
That between those leaders. It was, I think, hands down, I think that was probably the highlight of the weekend.
Yeah. I agree.
Given the weekend that we had